Yeah, what up guys, Guidom here. Today we're going to be looking at how to integrate ALS community version with Jigsaw inventory system. This community version specifically is designed to work with the multiplayer as opposed to the V4 version on the marketplace, which only works with single player. Still viable if you're only working on a single player, but this one here specifically is has a lot of improvements and is more optimized and works with multiplayer. So we're going to be looking at how to integrate this version specifically with Jigsaw inventory. If you're working with 5.4, there's this motion matching system that just came out, and there's this other GitHub repository that uses that same system with ALS. But currently, there's only single player. There's no multiplayer. Same for the animation sample. So if you're working with single player and you're on 5.4, I would recommend this version specifically. I use ALS and it is pretty good. So for 5.4, it has all the motion matching things, all the vaulting system, and yeah, it's pretty good. I would recommend checking this out. I'll link in the description. This one right here, it's still being worked on, and I'm sure this will get better over time. For now, we're going to be looking at the tried and true ALS community version, and I'm going to see how to integrate this. This is presented as a plugin, so we'll have to add it to our project version 0.26, so we should be able to make it work for 5 plus. We'll just have to compile the C++. So right here I got this folder, and first thing you want to do obviously is create the Jigsaw folder, the project I mean. That's going to be from your Epic launcher. Look for Jigsaw and then simply create the project. In order to get this plugin, you want to go to code. I'll link the link in the description. You just want to go to code here and do download zip, and or use GitHub if you're comfortable with that. But yeah, so you want to unzip that folder right here. All right, so I got them right here. I got the Jigsaw folder right here and the plugin. So the first thing we want to do here is convert our project from a pure blueprint into a C++ project. So we'll open that. I'm using 5.4 currently, and we can do that simply by adding an empty class, C++ class, and that should work. Also, if you don't have Visual Studio installed, I recommend downloading Visual Studio 2022 community version. It's free and it will download all or install all the required libraries for you to be able to compile C++. All right, so here we go, and like I said, I'm on 5.4, and I'm going to go ahead and go to Tools, New C++, and we'll simply select Actor or none. It doesn't matter. So I'll just select Actor, and then I'll leave it as my actor. This will simply add or convert our project to a C++ project, because we'll need to compile the plugin, the ALS plugin. So I'm going to go ahead and select no, and then I'll close the project, and then now we should have our Visual Studio files right here. And of course, we need to add the plugin. So I don't have a plugins folder, so I'm going to create that. So new folder, call it plugins, and then I'm going to simply copy this right here, go to plugins and paste it. Okay. Once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and right click on our U project here and then go show more and then generate Visual Studio files. This is mainly so it recognizes our plugin. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and double click on the Visual Studio solution, and we should be able to compile our plugin from here. The plugin is designed for 26, but I'm pretty sure it's being tested for 5. But we'll see if we have any issues. We should be able to fix them. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on GS inventory system. Before that, make sure you have your output log and error list right here. You can access those from view, and then you have your error list and output log. Mainly the output log gives you a lot of information. So right click build, and we'll see what it's trying to do. And if there's any issues, we'll try to fix them. So it's going to compile 35 objects. Successful, no issues, most likely tested with 5.4, I would imagine. So everything is good. Now we can go ahead and close Visual Studio and open the project. So go ahead and double click on that. And that's it. We compiled the plugin, and now we should be good to go. So the project still works as normal, but we will access our not C++, but plugins, and then we should be able to see our advanced locomotion content folder right there. And let's have a look at some of the levels. We have our demo level. Let's go ahead and double click on that and see if there's any issues. Okay, let's give it a test. Okay, everything seems good. Let's go ahead and test faulty. Okay, everything good. Obviously, the main one here is we're going to be testing as a client. Dual listen service, so just I use this window as well. So here's our server, and here's our client. Gonna go and test with our client, make sure everything is good. And there, okay, everything seems good. Nice. Okay, all right. So now we go into the integration part of it, and we're gonna go ahead and open our refined map. So let's go ahead and get started with the main topic of this video, which is integrating ALS with Jigsaw inventory system. The steps should also apply for the V4 in the marketplace or any other ALS version really. So let's go and access our character real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and do BPJ character, and I'm going to double click on that, and also the player controller. So we're simply going to be reparenting our character to the ALS class. That's the easiest way to integrate any two blueprints. So currently it inherits from parent from character. So just click on class settings here, and instead of character, we're going to be doing ALS character. So we have two of them. We have the base character and the character BP. Let's go ahead and go with the character BP. And what you want to do next is you want to go to the mesh right here. We're going to go ahead and click on this gear and show or show only modified properties. That's going to bring up anything that's different from the base class and makes changing things easier. So main thing is the mesh. It's gonna switch to that, and then right here, looks like it doesn't do anything with the material, so that's fine. Click on that, click on collision right there, and then like that. So compiling, obviously no errors, nothing like that. So I'm gonna click on class default and do the same thing. And these materials are fine. These are also fine right here. And there you go. So these materials look like they want to be reset, but it doesn't do anything, so we'll leave it. We'll leave it be. And then next is the character movement component right there. And surprisingly, there's no differences. That's interesting. Not even the walk speed. Okay, seems like it's all matches just fine. So we'll leave it like that. And then gonna go ahead and access the construction script real quick just to see what we have here. That's fine. Okay, everything seems good so far. We are going to do the same for our controller. Let's go ahead and see what this is all about. You can ignore this if you want. It's not used currently, but if you want to fix this warning, you could do a make float there and just hook it up directly. If I compile, that should deal with that. And this right here. Yeah, so we're going to be doing the same thing here. Class settings, go to parent class and change that to ALS controller if we have that. ALS player controller, let's go ahead and change that. And same thing, go class default, show only modified properties. All right, so we can give it a try and see how it feels. So we just hit play. We forgot to reset our anim BP. So surprisingly, that doesn't look like it can be reset, but we can just simply pick ALS blueprint right here, ALS anim BP. Let's have a look at the pose right there. And if we play, seems to be working just fine. All right. Then what we want to fix here is a couple things. First is Jigsaw starts with first person by default. ALS starts with third person. So we're going to go ahead and set the on begin play right here. There is this node right here called is first person. And so by default, it's not. So we can just simply delete this. But we'll be handling first person and third person later. But for now, we should be able to see our head just fine. And I think if you... Yeah, so V is how you switch to first person and ALS. All right, so let's go ahead and take care of the of the sockets. So we're gonna go ahead and open the mesh of the ALS right here, and we'll do the same for our Jigsaw mannequin. So I believe that's called mannequin right there. And all we gotta do here is simply copy the sockets. So let's see if we can hide the bones. Hide bones, there you go. So we can only see the sockets. So we'll just control click here and select all of them. Then right click and do copy selected sockets. And then we'll do the same here. Well, not the same, but we'll paste the socket. So select any bone, doesn't matter. And when you right click, there's two options: paste sockets and paste socket to selected bones. You want to select the paste sockets, Control V. And that will find the bone and do the same thing basically. Now if you go ahead and play, you can see that the rifle is now um, attached the right way. Now for pants, as you can see, clipping through, but that is expected because the mesh, ALS mesh, is just in terms of scale or size is not the same thing. So um, you're gonna have to use, or depending on the mesh, I would imagine that you're gonna be using your own mesh. So you need your own compatible clothes that fit. But for this one, it's just a temporary mesh for UE4 mannequin, attached to ALS mannequin, which is not gonna work. So it is expected, but it's visually, he's equipping pants, so um, as far as debugging goes, that's all that matters. Or like not debugging, but testing your game. Next thing is montages, because right now, if I want to switch to my primary, as you can see, it says at the top can't change. Now ALS v4 has something in its anim BP that it's always playing a montage, and we have a check here in the character. So we're gonna go to, that would be an animation plus hotbar, right? And yeah, so right there, this macro request change slot. We are going to simply bypass this check because, like I said, ALS is always playing a montage, so this check is just not going to work. So we're going to go ahead and just bypass that check. And if we play right now, we'll press 1. As you can see, the weapon is in my hand, but we don't see any animation. Before we do animations, we're going to go ahead and check on rep active slot. This right here. So on rep active weapon is called when your slot changes. Like let's say you equip primary, this is going to be updated as primary, and so on. Right here, all we got to do here is simply do a sequence. You can hold S and click. That's going to add a sequence. And we're going to go ahead and do a switch on gameplay tags. And then we're going to go ahead and select the tag right there. And then add the all the compatible slots. Okay, so we're going to start with primary. So player slot, primary. And then player slot, secondary. And then our third slot, which is pistol. And then finally the melee slot. There you go. Okay, so depending on what we got right here, and also default means we inequip the weapon. So here mainly we're looking to sit overlay state. This is gonna be our rifle. Same thing, so both of them are gonna be rifle. And then pistol is gonna be our. We could do one-handed pistol. Why not? Force, not sure what this does. I don't see why you would want to force or not force a state. But either way, we'll see. If you have any issues, we'll investigate that later. But for now, see if we have any melee here. Hands tied. No. Okay, we'll just go default here. And default is also default. See how that works. Now, obviously, this pose right here, let's go ahead and display and see what we're working with. So as you can see, that's our rifle right there. Also, this held object, we need to remove that. Yeah, it looks good. It just needs a little bit of the socket needs to be adjusted slightly. You could use my pose, I suppose, the M4 idle pose. I'm sure you could do that in the AnimBP. You can like add more layering options. You could be like, okay, I just equipped an M4. I want to do the M4 pose. I equipped a shotgun. I want to do shotgun pose. But you'll have to do that on the AnimBP of ALS. And I'm sure you can find some tutorials on that. But for now, we're going to be working with the overlay um, state, which you can access, which we can update depending on what changed. If you want to access what weapon, we can do that. We could simply go. We can do get current active weapon. We can simply use this function right here. That's going to give you the weapon. You can cast to main firearm if you want, and then just work with that. Or you can also get components by class, and then you can access the pickup components, and then from there you can get the data asset. And there you go. You can like figure out, okay, what is this? We could check by item ID, for example. Item ID. You could do type. Right? Is this a shotgun? Okay. Let's say, okay. Is this a shotgun? Right? Is it a shotgun? Is what is it? Right? Is it a melee weapon? You could also work with the item ID, and then you can feed that to the NMBP, and then from there you could like do other animations. Or based on this, you can like select another layering state. But yeah, for the time being, this is good enough, and we'll just have to fix the animations. All right, next I want to kind of get rid of these held objects. Don't quite remember how, but go and check the base class. So held objects right there. Find references. See if it's used anywhere. It's right there. Okay, so let's just go ahead and disconnect this right there. I don't need to visualize that. There you go. So that's good. So far, I want to test multiplayer. Let's go ahead and play as a client, just to be sure everything is good. Okay, seems good. No errors. Nice. All right, so all that's remaining, I think, is simply the animations. So we are going to go back to our character here and the swapping, which would be the macro. And currently it's using this montage, which is MP equip montage right there. So all we got to do here is to simply retarget this. I'm going to make a folder here called ALS retarget. Okay, going to add to favorite right there. Okay, so this right here, Control B, so I can find where it is. And we're going to simply right click here. There we go. So retarget animations. And with 5.4, we have a easier system to work with. So we're gonna go ahead and use the what is it called? Animen right there. So they both have the A pose, so that's fine. And we're gonna have the Unreal generate our retargeter. Should be fine. Yeah. So then, one thing is annoying here is that you have to select again the animation that you gotta retarget, even though I right clicked on it. But yeah, so that should be MP equip montage right there. And we're gonna go ahead and do export animations, and there's ALS retarget, and then export right there. There you go. So that's our animation right there, and we simply want to use that instead. So I'm gonna go ahead and rename that to, just gonna go ahead and add ALS at the beginning. There you go. And I'm gonna go back to the character and simply assign it right here. And same thing here. So let's see what happens. Okay, so you can't see it. So yeah, so we have to change the layering groups here. So that's gonna be, so obviously we want to do this upper body, so we'll have to include everything that's compatible with the upper body. So I'm not sure if I have to pick pelvis, but I'll go with spine for now. Then what you want to do next is you want to duplicate um, don't do new slot, but do duplicate slot. And let's see, what do we need here? So we gone with spine, then arm L, then duplicate that, and then arm R, and then finally duplicate, and that's going to be slot name the head. That's it. So we have all these layering groups right there. Now what we need to do is we actually need to go to the weapon itself. So in this case, I'm going to go to the modular rifle. And we have to repeat the same thing here for a couple montages. So we have our equip montage. We want to change that to ALS MP equip montage, which is the one that we just retargeted. Since our weapon is not chambered, when you equip it, it will chamber the weapon. So we need the animation for that. So we'll have to do the same thing with this one right here. So equip plus chamber, we're going to retarget that. And while we're here, we're just going to select all of them and simply right click and do retard. Actually, that's not going to let me do that. So, okay, we'll just do anim underscore then. So retarget animation. And we're going to do the same thing, anim man. And so once they start with anim underscore, I'm going to add montage there. So anim, okay, so all of these are my animations. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of them and export animations and ALS retarget and then export and export. Okay, Control Shift S, save everything. This is the painful part where you have to go on and each one and do the layering groups, but should be the same process. So modular rifle. Now we already did that, so we need to do the same for this equip plus chamber. Right here, we're gonna go ahead and look for equip plus chamber. So we retargeted this one. So this is for the shotgun. This is for the M4. So we're gonna select that and assign it to the modular rifle. Right there. Now, obviously, like I said, we have to do the same thing here. So that's gonna be all right. That's it. So in theory, we should see the montage play right here. Yep, there you go. He chambers the weapon and we're good to go. Yeah, so that's basically the same process for all of the other animations. We already retargeted all of them. Just a matter of going in the modular rifle or any other weapon. And you have like a reload montage, reload plus chamber. And we already have it right here. So just a reload, add montage there to filter out the montages. So full reload plus charging. Full reload. Okay, that one right there. I'm gonna assign it right here. And then full reload plus charging right there. And again, let's just go ahead and do it for the reload just to test that like that. Let's go ahead and test our reloading here. Okay, so it says you can't reload while a montage is playing. Same issue. I'm gonna go ahead and fix that. So go to the reload graph right there. Yep. So we just have to bypass that. So it's interesting. The left arm is not blending well. That could be my mistake. Let's see. Full reload. What did I do here? Spine, arm L, arm R, head. Seems like it should work. So after some digging, it is definitely the hand IK, and the way to deal with it is or disable it while doing certain montages is to add the, if I just can go back to my phone, there we go. So I gotta add the overlay override state, which I simply copied from one of the mantle montages right here. So overlay override state 1. Probably also can do this. But yeah, so they use a lot of curves to blend out certain states like head, legs, pelvis, to make the montage blend out nicely. But for our purposes here, all we need here is this simple overlay overrides state. I think you just set it here. So 1 would probably be default, right? Or either that or 0. But yeah, 1, if you go now and reload, well, let me equip my weapon first. So if I reload, as you can see, the hand is free now. And then once the montage is done, then hand IK takes over. Yeah, so it's the same process for everything else. You just go to the modular rifle or your custom weapons, and you simply retarget. We already retargeted actually all the montages, so you simply go replace them right here, and take care of the layering groups. So if I go here again, like this, duplicate, don't add new slot, just duplicate and specify how to blend the upper body. And then obviously to disable hand IK, you will want to set a overlay override state like mentioned here. Just copy it from their montages. All right, so finally we're going to be taking a look at any camera work here in the character. ADS. So ADS is handled by ALS, right? So we have to disable that here in Jigsaw. We don't need that. So that's going to be in ADS right there, right? So all of this is not needed. You can just simply disconnect that. And then we have if I just right click on the first person camera right here, find by name, get first person camera. As a function, it's probably used somewhere else. So it's used right here. So trace to world. So here we're trying to figure out whether we're in first person or third person. Based on that, like increase the trace length. But with ALS, we can access the Git. I think it's Git view mode right there, and we can simply check if it's first person, like that, and that should cover it. We also have like a first person. Yeah, is first person. We can do the same here. That. Same thing here. That's done. Again, this doesn't matter because we're not using this camera, so we can just delete that. Again, we can just again right click on first person, find references by name. And so far, this is the only thing that's referencing the camera, or the first person camera. We do the same thing for it. And it is used a couple times here. Get active camera, we'll get back to that later. So switch, this one switches from first person and third person. We can simply disconnect this, it's not needed, ALS handles that. For ADS, like ADS is already disabled, so all of this is just an ADS, so we can ignore that. Back to get active camera, go and right click find references by name. And yeah, it's using ADS, so all of that disabled, so we should be good now. Yeah, I could just delete these cameras and deal with the errors, so right there, so delete it, compile, we'll probably, yeah, so we should be good here. I was gonna say I'm probably gonna get some errors, but doesn't look like it. Yeah, so if I hold C, I'm in first person mode. I can loot just fine. Can't shoot while a montage is playing. So we got an error here in our branch. So what is this? Right mouse button. So this is used for ADSing, which we're gonna go ahead and disable here because ADSing is handled by ALS, like that. So it says I can't shoot if I'm playing a montage. We're gonna go ahead and fix that. So the shooting plus reloading graph, and that's the left mouse button. And again, we simply want to bypass that. And now we should be able to shoot our weapon. Yep. Oh, I died. All right, so we're gonna deal now with the ragdoll. So when you die, we can use ALS ragdoll system. So on rep health, I think this variable got renamed from health to as alive. Unless I got health variable, yeah, got renamed. So this right here is the on rep for is alive. Yeah, so health rep, and then right there, so that's a ragdoll. So we just gotta figure out how what to call for ALS to do the ragdoll instead. So ragdoll start maybe. Let's see. Gonna go and delete that and like that. So there's supposed to be a ragdoll action. Okay, that might do it then instead of ragdoll start. Also in the code they seem to do to also disable collision for the capsule, so I'm not gonna do it here again. So yeah, so when we die, ragdoll action. Let's go give it a shot. Okay, so the ragdoll issue seems to be related to the in-possess right here. So when you die, we in-possess the character, but for some reason that seems to be doing creating issues. So what we can do here is just do a delay of 1 second and then in-possess the character. My thinking is, no, not sure why would that be an issue, like in possessing the character. Like I don't see why that would interfere with ragdoll, but let's see what happens here. Yeah, seems good now. It's weird. Okay, so we're not even playing multiplayer. Like, yeah, it's probably checking for maybe controller. I don't know. All right, so also do the respawning. Obviously, we want to be able to. Oh, it doesn't matter. You respawned a new character, so that should work out of the box. But let's just test it. So I'm gonna go ahead and die and click respawn and the recoil is pretty tough. Gotta make sure we can loot players. Okay, that's good. Loot our old body. We cannot loot our old body. All right, that must be like a collision issue. To fix the not able to loot your body issue, we can simply like change the trace to world to camera instead, and then try interact also to camera. I think this should solve it. Let's make sure we can pick up items. Yep. All right, here we go. And as you can see, we can loot our body now. Either that or we keep it visibility, but so either that or we simply do this. So when we're dead, we simply do response to visibility, block like that, and then I believe now it should work. Okay, so now if I check, as you can see, I'm able to loot my body because we blocked the visibility. Either that or do it in Visual Studio right here. So you could like set responsive channel to visibility right here. That also should work. So I think that's pretty much it for this tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Also join our Discord, link in the description. And until then, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.